I'm creaming. If I hit, I mean you're. Anyways, our Cream, the band, Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, y'all know. Are they slop or not for shizzle? Okay, how do we figure it out? First, we're going to go over what is slop. Then second, how to detect slop. Third, how much of cream is slop. To rise to the top. Don't mess with a pig is a cop. Or better yet, I'll say to you later. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Cream. Fourth, we're going to figure out, are they talented, right, outside of their catalog? And then finally, are you going to think that cream and are other people going to think that cream is slop? So let's start. How do we define slop? Slop is when it's less than a 7 in terms of catchiness. Here's catchiness on the bottom. Here's energy, right? If something's less than a 7 catchy, people are going to call it slop. Maybe unless they're a fan of that genre, they might call it like, well, it's actually metal. It's like, it's garbage. It happens to be high energy, but it is bad, right? If it's good enough, people call it rock or pop, depending on the energy level. So energy, 0 to 3, this is easy to observe. 0 to 3, people are falling asleep or they're chill. 3 to 6 or 7, they're like dancing, moving, grooving. Fireball. Biggity boys, diggity dog, timber. Pitbull. And then 7 to 11, they're moshing, fighting, pow, pow, pow. They're lifting weight. Pow, pow, pow. Oh, I love lifting weight. Pow, pow, pow. I walked up to this girl and I said, pow, pow, pow. Come on, people. But how do we figure out if something's catchy or not? And how do we assign a number to it? Well, you're in luck, because I'm here to save you from yourself. I'm here to save you. Here to slay. We have the catchiness index. Catchiness, Mr. Creamy people. You guys are creamy people. Creamy in your mom. No, creamy people. So, catchiness index, we have predictability. A lot of things go into catchiness, but the easiest way to get a gist for how catchy something is the predictability, the average predictability. If you have elements that are incoherent, completely unpredictable, and elements that are completely predictable, they average together. They can kind of average out to be somewhere in this money zone. If something's completely corny, right? If the whole song is corny, guaranteed slop, right? If it's completely incoherent, nothing, like, you can't follow it, completely unpredictable, completely incoherent, definitely slop. Now, if it's some sort of good zone in the money zone, balanced to zany, balanced Back in Black, AC/DC, zany, Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen, if it's in that range of like, okay, it kind of balances out, now you have a chance. You have a shot at being slop or something that's just for fans, right? Kind of in this mid-range. Or you can actually be hit quality song, right? Some of these things can be a smash hit, yada, yada, yada. Just because something's a hit or doesn't become a hit. Hit quality is kind of different. Hit quality is it catchy enough, right? In terms of the catchiness level that it could have become a hit, right? Outside my window, there is a tree. Like, that song is catchy enough that it could have been a hit, but, like, I don't think it ended up being a hit in the time. In a world of pain. Now we look at the catalog audit. I'm going to cut to the chase on this one. Cream is a classic catalog. What does that mean? So if you look at the catalog audit, you can look at the rest of the chart if you'd like to see a bunch of different examples. But they have their hits. This is the relative ratio of qualities to the amount, right? And so they put out probably most of their stuff is either just like straight up hits or stuff that's going to be really awesome if you're a fan of that decade or of that style or of that genre or of that band in general, Eric Clapton or Ginger Baker's drumming. So most of it's just like really good. There's pretty much nothing that's unlistenable. That's kind of where like the slop is like, okay, the difference between like slop and a B-side is if you're a fan of a certain style, like here's OnlyFans model. No, but if you like Slayer, like Slayer's a great example of this because if you like thrash metal and Slayer, you're going to get a lot of mileage out of their catalog, even though you're like, obviously, there's only 2 hits maybe, really. It's like Angel of Death and Raining Blood. Like, there's only like 2 or 3 songs that are like catchy, but most of it's not that catchy, but it's still good enough. It's catchy enough that like you get a ton out of the catalog if you're a Slayer fan. And so if you're not a fan of Slayer or metal, you're going to say, they have like 2 hits, and the rest of this is slop. That's where you're going to cut the line for slop. But if you do like Slayer and metal, you're going to say most of it is pretty good. There's only a little bit of slop, right? So that's where things get controversial. With a classic catalog, it's not. It's mostly stuff that everyone agrees is great. So most people are going to say it's good. So that's a pretty good sign for Cream going into this. And now we get to this last part, which is really kind of where they start to take the cake. They start to cream in your cake. I want to cream in her cakes. No, Latina's Austin, Texas. Hit me up. Anyways, talents. So there's basically 3 quadrants people look at. They look at the virtuosity. Do they hold them in high regard? Or those riffs are like, oh my God, those are iconic. Like, think like Rust in Peace by Megadeth. Or, like anything Joe Satriani did. Or even like Al Di Meola or whatever. Like, even like just anyone who's like, oh, that's a virtuoso at their instrument. Ginger Baker's an example. Eric Clapton's an iconic guitarist. I'm sorry about the bassist. I don't remember his name. But they get a green for that for sure, which means excellent. Songwriting, I'm going to put them a yellow-green. They're really good, but like some of the stuff you're like, but it's like for fans. It's like kind of meanders. It's a little lower energy than I like, but still, it's good songwriting, so that should be a green, but I'm not going to change it. Brand, they get a yellow because it's kind of good, but like yellow-green. So in general, it's all green and or like yellow-green. Green being like excellent, yellow-green being like pretty good. So it's all pretty universal there. So now we get to overall, are people going to call them slop or not, right? And this is coming in and it's pretty clean round on Cream's part. This is a rare thing. Cream is kind of, I see why Cream are in the conversation, though I think the Beatles are better than Cream, and they're able to do, on average, cooler stuff, and they're able to do a wider array of stuff. I think they both end up in a similar place. So when people think about, now, where do we put the band on here? People usually think about, because you can only put a single song on here, right? You can say, what energy does the song have? How catchy is the song? So when people say, how catchy is the band slop? Well, there's the things we talked about that factor into some people's calculation, but most people go in general. And when they say in general, they mean out of the 10 songs that I can think of, which are usually the ones they liked the best, that's why they remember them, where does that go on energy and catchiness? So let's look at my 10. Your 10 might be slightly different. Once again, controversy was low, catalog, classic, mostly hits. They're talented in all 3 quadrants, so you're not going to get debate. That's why they're so low controversy, because they have a great catalog and they're very talented. Everyone agrees. So low controversy. No one's arguing about that. And then I go, I'm getting it done. And then naked is all the tales of brave Ulysses at his naked Israel torture. And then strange boo and kill what's inside of you. And I'm in a white room with no windows. Outside my window there is a tree. Dun, 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 dun. And then down in the morning, and I thought about the times you rode in your car, and I told them the things that I saw from Mabel, and then clearly lower energy, like a 5, right? And she was good. Born Under a Bad Sign. You're like, Crossroads is not on there. Yeah, because it sucks. Everyone always talked about, like, oh, it's a great song. It's fine. It's a generic blues song. And Cream was when Eric Clapton did everything good. And it's like my favorite guitar tones. And it's really inspirational and really great. And then he just became like generic Joe Bonamassa garbage. So, sorry. But for Cream, 9.1 on catchiness, 6 on energy. So we go over energy, and then as we cross the slop line, people start to add the word. So people would say, I mean, they wouldn't call it punk, but they would say, well, it's like proto-rock, like proto-punk, like that, like kind of energy level. And so what did I say, a 6 in energy, and then you go over into, what was that, a 9.1, yeah. And so kind of like proto, like garage rock, maybe they'll say in this area as well, right? Garage rock, and then you go over to 9.1, so it's rock. You wouldn't call Cream garage rock. People typically don't, but like kind of like the Kinks, it's a similar energy level. The Kinks are maybe a little bit higher, like 7 to 6 range, and Cream was maybe like 3 to 6, but still, it's like Cream ends up around here. they're rock and they're low energy enough that people might call them pop, and some of their songs certainly probably are poppier, but it just gets in kind of this range, right? So cream, yeah, cream are not slop. So that's the whole point is here's the slop cutoff. Everything here is slop. This is not. Cream end up here with my 10 song average. They're probably somewhere close by in yours. So for most people, they're probably not thinking cream is slop. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, and Latinas, hit me up. No, yeah, I'll see you in the next video. The next one is on... I do not recall. I plead the fifth. Anyways, I'll see you there. Bye.